Okay, we're going to go to Mike Rogers now with some updated information.
Yeah, I want to go back to, we're going to talk about, we had to get Jasmine out of there because it was just simply not safe for her to be where she was. But I want to show you here, and I'm going to break down kind of the area that she was in. First of all, I'm going to show you this map first, because this is the map that shows kind of what's burned. Now, this has not been updated in a while, and I don't suspect that it might be for the rest of the night because it is now nightfall and we have lost a lot of the technology that is able to do that. But I just wanted to show you on a map. This is Palisades Charter High School. Jasmine was right in this area. Now, what I was telling you about before we went to Jasmine, there's a fire that is burning in this area. And what I'm listening to is that has now become a very significant operation for the fire department because the building, even though they are under a mandatory evacuation order, is full of people. So what they're doing right now is they're using an air horn to try to tell people to evacuate and get out of there. And at the same time, they are trying to go floor by floor. And look at this. I want to show you on this Google map here how significantly large this building is. So this is what I was telling you. Remember I told you it sounded like that an ember may have hit the roof and that's what started the fire. Well, this is that building. This is that very large building where that is happening. And right now it has become a significant operation for LAFD to try to go floor by floor and evacuate this. And look at this. As I come down into more of a topography view, look at the trees and all the shrubbery that are right here and even up against this building, which just is making everything so much harder for the fire crews and so much more difficult to try to keep fire away from buildings like this because the shrubs and trees are so close to it. So this is a very active situation that has become now a priority, obviously, for the LAFD, and I'm listening to them having to go floor by floor to try to get people out. They were trying to use, there's people in wheelchairs that I'm hearing now, or they're also trying to get out. So this has become a very hectic and chaotic scene, and it's right next to where Jasmine was, which is at Palisades High School. I also want our viewers to know, we've had a lot of people write in and say, hey, has this place burned? Has that place burned? We're working on getting all of that. One viewer told us that the bleachers here at Palisades Charter High School have had structural damage. Somebody was concerned for a church that I believe is just further west on Sunset. We're trying to work on all of those things, reach out to the appropriate people involved. As you can understand, it's a very chaotic scene down there right now, as you saw from Jasmine's live pictures. So that's where things stand. We're continuing to monitor that apartment building fire that is happening on Sunset. It's the 15,500 block of Sunset Boulevard, that very large building that I just showed you, which, as you're looking at my map, is in the mandatory evacuation zone. And it is so critical that if you are in an evacuation zone that you get out. People in that building did not. And now they're finding themselves in a situation where they're having to be rescued. And the fire department is trying to go through, and I'm listening to where exactly the fire is. It sounds like it's in the corner of the building. So look at though, I mean, we have a significant chunk of people that probably didn't think the fire was going to make it as far as them. And that's here. This is Charter High School, and Palisades Charter High School. That building is here. But look, all of this area, the Riviera Country Club is under a mandatory evacuation tonight. And all of the people that live there surround it. Will Rogers State Beach, where the command post is also in that mandatory evacuation zone. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that, that command post move yet again because of now how significantly close the fire is to where all of this was going on. So we cannot say it enough. If you're in an evacuation zone, you should listen to that warning and you should leave. Because what we don't want is what's happening in this apartment building right now. These people were under a mandatory evacuation zone. They didn't leave. And now the fire department is trying to rescue people out of this very large building.
And you know what? If you're not in the exact evacuation zone, if you're close to it, pay attention. Right. You know, and maybe you should leave anyway. You know, even if you're not directly affected at that time, because we have seen these wind shift and this fire just spread since it broke out, what, at 10:30 this morning? Yeah. And here we are at 5:47.
So fast.
Yes.
And just because the fire is, if you look out your window and you don't immediately see it, these are more live pictures now of the fire, but the embers that will shoot and cross and jump and do all of those things, just because you are not necessarily right up against the blaze, doesn't mean that those embers aren't going to carry for hundreds of feet, thousands of feet even, and light something else on fire. Everything is so dry out there.
And Mike, I believe this is our LAX camera that we've pointed into the direction of Pacific Palisades to bring us these pictures, and you can see
which is wild.
What an intense fire line, how long it goes, how smoky it is. And again, the worst of the conditions, the fire conditions, are happening right now into the early morning hours.
And you can see the camera bouncing around from the wind at LAX as we look to the north.
You know, we talked about earlier today just how dry we've been. We haven't had a significant rain since May. But, you know, when you did a close-up of those shrubs and greenery surrounding some of these structures, you know, that's still fuel for fire. May not be as dry as some of the other vegetation, but, you know, in this particular instance, you know, our enemy is the wind right now because it's driving these flames. The humidity is so low that it doesn't matter necessarily if it's greenery or not. That's still going to catch fire, and that's what we have seen happening here. I think a lot of people have been surprised by the amount of structures, the amount of buildings, but with a fire as fierce as that, it doesn't matter. This picture you're looking at right now, Mike, just want to say that's Jasmine leaving the area.
Jasmine, let's go to you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
You guys, I'm holding the phone as my photographer Oliver is driving down PCH. We just came off Temescal and it is unbelievable, you guys. Right in front of me. Oliver, maybe just stop for a second here. I'm shooting through the windshield, so hold on, let me get you a better shot. That is either an apartment building or another home up in flames. There's debris all across the road. We're trying to avoid traffic cones and trash cans that have been thrown across. People, I've actually seen a line of residents being let out by fire trucks or I guess fire SUVs trying to evacuate them, maybe those who chose to stay too long. There are flames on Temescal down to PCH and massive. Look at this. This is the building. We're going to inch past it. Oh. And you can feel the heat just through the window as we got out of there. We just came off Temescal. Yeah, it might be what Mike was talking about, the apartment.
No, that's
building,
a different one, Jazz.
Yeah, Jazz, you're on PCH. The one we were talking about is on Sunset. So this is a whole other building. Your GPS looks like.
Wow.
Are you south of Temescal on PCH?
Yeah, we just went, we went west on PCH, but we just came off Temescal, going back through this intersection, and the visibility is horrible. And you see what we're dealing with, cones and trash cans all over us. Look, this guy just swerved around one.
Wow.
As he's trying to get out of here. And that's the Pacific Ocean. You can't even see it. It's just thick smoke. I mean, flames. Look at this, right along PCH. And it is chaotic. Fire trucks are going every which way. Look at this massive flame.
It just, you know, the more we see, Jasmine, the further you get, it just seems like there are more flames.
Yeah. I mean, this guy just, did he hit someone?
Oh,
they're trying to avoid the cone. I mean, there's just, I don't know how trash cans got in the middle of the PCH here, but yeah, there's a lot of obstacles to avoid as not only emergency vehicles, but just trying to get out of the way of the fire, right?
And that just makes it even, well, for firefighters, they can barely see in front of them. And smoke that heavy, that thick.
Yeah, and you can't see. I mean, I wouldn't even go up Temescal Canyon. That is, I mean, all those homes right along that stretch look to be gone.
And, you know, we will hopefully get an update before the night is over. But, you know, hard to keep up with numbers like that when it happens so quickly.
Well, we're so glad that you're doing okay,
absolutely.
Jasmine.
See, and now you can barely make out. Yeah, you can barely make out the view, right, of Santa Monica. We're looking in the direction of Santa Monica. If people can
know exactly where you're looking
now.
at. You know, looks like you're getting into more traffic, or are people stopping, pulling over the side of the road, Jazz?
It looks to be where kind of they're staging all the fire trucks now, as this fire has moved down off El Medio Avenue. I mean, it's just crazy. This is where there were tons of cars lined up earlier, you know, a few hours ago, trying to get out of here, and now the fire has made its way all the way down to PCH, across Temescal. It just, the wind's pushing these embers every which way, but the fact that it's moved this far,
Oh, look at that big truck.
They're all coming.
It's pulled out right in front of you.
Yeah, and they're staging all over here. I mean, this is some heavy equipment. They're trying to bring in the dozers to stop this fire from moving even further, right? Closer to Santa Monica, because you can see those lights in the distance down there.
Well, that's where a lot of people were evacuating too, from what we heard. Even some people started out on foot heading towards Santa Monica. You know, go ahead, Jazz.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, on foot, on bike. We just passed a lady. I hope she got out of there. I told you, right when we had to leave, she was on her bike, riding out with some bags on her back.
Well, she's getting out any way she could.
Yeah.
You know, another thing, there are some businesses up and down PCH, and I don't want to name any, you know, because I don't want to mention something that happens not to be true. But you know, there are some familiar spots where people like to dine and enjoy.
Iconic.
And you just don't know how they're doing at this point. So I said, even if you don't live in this area, if you do, it's so sad and unfortunate to watch. But again, this is impacting so many people.
Yep, 10,000 residents, 30,000 homes in the area there, businesses, as you mentioned, Pat, houses of worship that have caught fire as well.
Oh, there's Jazz.
And now we see your face, Jazz.
Oh, yeah. So we just came to, this must be Topanga, right on PCH, as emergency vehicles are heading up that direction because the fire is moving that direction as well. As we saw it off Temescal, it was just burning through anything it could, and these embers were flying everywhere. And it's heartbreaking to see that high school, the football field. Yeah, we're going to be directed through. Yep.
Thank you. Gotcha.
So Jazz,
field,
they're turning on
Charter,
Topanga?
yeah.
They're turning on Topanga? Those fire trucks we saw?
Yeah, we're right at Entrada. Entrada Drive, we're going to flip around, so let us go see, because they're worried that it's now, it's going to jump, right, if you're familiar. So Patrick's Roadhouse, we're passing State Beach Liquor, yeah, so Chautauqua, did I say that right? Chautauqua? That's the boulevard where...
Chautauqua,
yeah.
That's
okay.
Chautauqua, I can't even speak with the
Great, thank you.
smoke in my...
And real quick, where she was, where we saw that fire burning, I believe that was off Tahiti Way. It looks like it's a row of homes that are right there that may have been burning. So Jasmine came off to Temescal and then was coming southbound on PCH.
Right.
And it looked like near Tahiti, Shore Drive, Driftwood Drive, Vista Terrace. I think that's what she was looking at when we saw all of those things on fire. So it's incredible out there.
And you know the thing too, I mean, as she's traversing, you also have a number of homes that are on the beach.
Right.
You know,
right
off the water.
We're going to go back down this way.
And I gotta say, I'm a little surprised about how many citizens we're still seeing out there. How many people are still in this area despite how long this fire has been burning?
I'm surprised as well after hearing all morning long about people running, leaving, you know, to get out as best they can. We heard about people walking, and we saw and talked to some people who were on their bicycles. And the fact that some people are also stopping, maybe they're waiting to think that they're going to get some kind of clear to go back to their homes. But you know, the way this looks for the time being, yeah, that probably won't happen.
Yeah, no, not for quite some time. And you know, it could be a lot of people that thought that it would never move as far as it did, never move towards, you know, where we've been talking about, where that apartment building was. That I'm told our Tom Waite just got there. He's not up yet, but he described it to my colleague Orlando as chaotic and insane. So we're going to hope to establish with Tom soon. But again, they're undertaking a massive operation to try to evacuate a ton of people out of that apartment building.
Now, is this still Jasmine's camera?
Yes.
You know, the reason I'm asking that, wow, what a picture that we're seeing from that perspective. I'm thinking even as she goes forward, I'm hoping to see fewer flames or no flames at all as you get closer.
Yeah, well,
Santa Monica to the 10.
She turned around, so she's going back northbound. So she's going to come back towards the fire, and you see things on the right-hand shoulder. On her left is the ocean, and then on the right is the fire. She kind of zooms in there, and I think it looks like she's getting closer back to where we were earlier. Yeah, so I believe this is that row of homes off Vista Terrace and Tahiti Avenue that are on fire. Jazz, does that look like Tahiti? Does that look like you're just past Temescal right there, right? You're at that intersection?
I can't even see.
Yeah, and
I mean,
Oliver's
I can't
turning
even.
back around.
You know, we're so turned around. I thought we were going one direction. That's the problem. I thought we were going one direction. I can't even see with all the smoke, and I guess we did end up back at Temescal. I can look at the map in a second. I was trying to.
Yeah, no,
sure
I'm tracking you, and it looks like you just made that U-turn at Temescal. So what you were looking up was Tahiti.
Yeah. So that must have been it. And these flames are just ripping through this hill. Yeah. And there's a guy on a bike. See, he's just watching.
All right, Jasmine, hold on for a second. We're going to be getting back to you very shortly here, but we want to welcome